In one of the worst attacks in decades, hundreds were killed in a series of coordinated attacks by BLA, which is the Balochistan Liberation Army rebels, across Pakistan's province of Balochistan. These were a series of coordinated attacks by the Baloch Liberation Army and other such fighter groups. These attacks have put the focus again on what's really happening in Balochistan. But to break it down for you, we begin with exactly where Balochistan is. It's in southwest Pakistan. It borders Iran and Afghanistan. This arid region, it's largely desert and mountains, is primarily populated by an ethnic Baloch people. But in spite of comprising a whopping 44% of Pakistan's land area, Balochistan remains economically underdeveloped when compared to other provinces, and this is their biggest grouse. That's what's led to the conflict over decades. Balochis have long complained of political marginalisation, of economic neglect and exploitation of their region's natural resources, including gas, minerals and strategic coastal access. The dispute, the attacks, the rebellions, they've been on for decades now, but major tensions actually escalated in the early 2000s after the death of tribal leader Akbar Bugti in 2006. Over years, groups like the Balochistan Liberation Army and the Balochistan Liberation Front adopted guerrilla tactics targeting state forces, targeting infrastructure. But why is this so important for Pakistan? Balochistan's significance is both strategic and economic. It hosts the Gwadar Port, a linchpin of the China-Pakistan economic corridor, which aims to connect China's western regions with the Arabian Sea. Balochistan holds Pakistan's 80% of mineral wealth. So, because Balochistan contains vast, largely untapped reserves of copper, gold, coal, iron ore and a whole lot of precious minerals, this is critical for both Pakistan's development and regional infrastructure ambitions. But the region's instability poses a major challenge, not just to Pakistan's internal security, but also to foreign investment and to diplomatic commitments, because again I go back to the China corridor and regional connectivity initiatives. So what's happened now? Insurgency took on renewed intensity. You had a wave of coordinated operations between January 31st and February 2nd, with attacks across multiple districts, fighters employing suicide bombings, assaults on government targets and efforts to disrupt transport links as well. So we're talking about multiple districts, including Qatar and Gwadar, where fighters launched suicide and gun assaults on security posts or police stations, prisons and infrastructure. Security personnel were killed, as were civilians. And these attacks, believe it or not, were actually led by women suicide bombers. Pakistan's military has responded, of course, with intense counter-operations, claiming hundreds of Baloch fighters have also been killed. So this is one of the deadliest recent escalations. The government repeatedly has labelled these fighters as terrorists, firmly rejecting that there will be any negotiations. Now, Pakistan has alleged that India and other neighbour countries are involved in spreading unrest in Balochistan, but has produced zero proof to actually back these claims. India has repeatedly rejected these allegations and drew attention to Pakistan's record of repression, brutality and human rights violations. Pakistan right now is struggling with this rebellion, with confessions from even the country's defense minister saying they are helpless against the armed fighters. The future of Balochistan's unrest will hinge on whether Islamabad pursues inclusive political solutions or remains reliant on force. Without credible efforts at political dialogue that address autonomy, resource rights and human rights concerns, this cycle of violence clearly is expected to persist.